as an elementary school teacher in Florida, this new bill has really been weighing on me a lot. I teach first grade, which means my classroom is one of the ones that will be directly affected. For those of you who haven't been in the classroom in a while, one of the things that teachers always do at back to school night and meet the teacher and things like that is they send home this cute little meet the teacher thing where it has a little bio about us, some of our favorite stuff, just so that you know who we are. How do I do that next year? Do I lie and not talk about my marriage? Do I pretend I'm single? Do I invalidate my spouse's stance as a trans femme person? Or do I put my job on the line to introduce myself?
All right, guys. So this story right here is a perfect example of why the Republicans in Florida, including Governor Ron DeSantis, are doing the Lord's work with the passing of the parental rights and education bill that is incorrectly dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill, which I'm going to start calling the Don't Say Straight bill, right? Just so they can't accuse me of being homophobic or transphobic or a bigot or, all the things they accuse you of. But I believe that the passing of that bill is literally like the Republicans doing the Lord's work, right? I actually really do believe that, okay? Because of stories like this, okay, which involves a Connecticut school nurse who was suspended over Facebook comments claiming the district hides children's gender issues from parents. So allegedly, this nurse spilled the beans on the fact that the school system was hiding the fact that some of these kids are transitioning their gender, their sex, whatever you want to call it, from their parents. And this nurse was punished for exposing information that I think that most reasonable people would believe that parents should know about their children, right? That ain't information you should be hiding from your children. Again, this is why the parental rights and education bill, aka the Don't Say Straight bill, is so important, right? Because it creates more transparency for parents to understand what type of paperwork, what type of information is being distributed to kids in school, right? Again, hats off to the Republicans in Florida, bro. They're really demonstrating how the GOP needs to lead on very, very, very important issues that are happening in our country. I know the left, the progressives / the regressives love telling us that these issues aren't important, right? That Republicans are making problems out of nothing. And I'm like, no. This stuff actually exists, okay? But because some people don't really want to do the research, they don't really want to look up, they refuse to believe it. Just like they don't believe that teachers are pushing racial propaganda in schools either, even though we have plenty of examples of it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this very, very, very disturbing story involving this nurse who exposed this school district hiding important information from parents. A Connecticut school nurse was suspended Monday over Facebook comments on a personal account called inappropriate by the district superintendent that warned parents school staff is hiding children's supposed expressed gender identity issues from their parents. Kathleen Cataford, 77, was suspended by Hartford Public Schools after posting comments to her personal Facebook account reportedly containing information about the number of preteen children who are claiming to have gender identity issues, including an 11-year-old on puberty blockers and other children identifying as non-binary. Quote, investigate the school system curriculum. CT is a very socially liberal, gender confused state, Cataford, who has worked at the Richard J. Kinsella Magnet School in Hartford, urged on the Facebook account of a local moms group that had requested local school recommendations. Quote, teachers and the SSW, school social workers, are spending 37.5 hours a week influencing our children, not necessarily teaching our children what you think is being taught, she wrote, according to the Daily Mail, which obtained the Facebook comments. Quote, as a public school nurse, I have an 11-year-old female student on puberty blockers and a dozen identifying as non-binary, all but 2 keeping this as a secret from their parents. She continued. Quote, children are introduced to this confusion in kindergarten by the school SW, who teaches social and emotional regulation and school expectations, Catherford added. Yeah, so again, this is exactly why the Florida Parental Rights and Education Bill is so important, because schools don't necessarily have to be that transparent about the information and resources that they're passing out to kids, right? So they can just put out anything, right? Giving them all types of forms with all types of crazy stuff on it. And they don't necessarily even really have to tell the parents, okay? And that is where the problem comes in, because you do have people who have infiltrated these schools that have an agenda, right? An agenda to help facilitate these kids getting in touch with the sexual identity that these people think that they should be getting in touch with, even at ages as young as kindergarten, right? So it sounds like this nurse is exposing the fact that a school social worker is basically teaching and pushing these stuff on kids, right? Not only are they teaching and pushing stuff on kids, it's going as far as kids being on puberty blockers, hormones, okay? Treatments that have a permanent long-term effect on their bodies, and their parents don't even know. Okay, their parents don't know, right? Parents don't know. You would think that would be information that parents should know, right? If the school knows, if the teacher knows, if the administrators know, why in the world can't the parents know? Well, what's going on in some of these woke schools is that they believe that they're the parent, right? They believe that they control what kids should know, right? They have more say and power over these children than parents, okay? This is why when the Democrats came out here and basically told us that, hey, parents shouldn't have a say in what kids learn in school, a whole lot of parents, especially suburban moms, was like, oh, no. Hell no, okay? We see what y'all pushing in school, okay? We see what y'all pushing, right? And this is a prime example. There has to be more transparency in these public schools, man. There has to be, okay? Because the fact that parents don't know about this stuff and it's happening and it's being facilitated by the school districts and pushed on these kids, potentially permanent and life-changing medical treatments and, ideologies that are incentivizing these kids to participate in these medical treatments. This is a crime, right? I think that this is a crime. According to the report, Hartford school district officials became aware of Catherford's Facebook comments after the mother of the 11-year-old mentioned it, saw it, and brought it to the district's attention. As she should, right? As she should. The Daily Mail published the statement by Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez, Hartford superintendent of schools, who acknowledged Catherford's use of personal social media accounts. Quote, however, the manner in which the comments were shared and the values they express are totally inconsistent with what we stand for, Torres Rodriguez added. Well, that's interesting, right? That's very interesting, because what do you stand for? Do you stand for 11-year-olds undergoing surgical gender reassignment surgery and taking puberty blockers without their parents knowing? Is that what you stand for? Okay, because if that's what you stand for, then you should resign. You should resign. Seriously. Because I don't see anything wrong with what the nurse said. The nurse is simply exposing things that should be told to parents. The superintendent added Catherford's comments were inappropriate and targeted LGBTQ plus students in Hartford. I don't necessarily know if I would categorize it as targeting. I would categorize it as actually trying to help them, right? Help them not make life decisions that they're going to regret in the future because some woke teacher pushed them to do something that they didn't really understand what they was doing at the time. Quote, HPS does not tolerate any language that could be harmful to our community, Torres Rodriguez stating the district took immediate action to remove the individual from the schools. The superintendent said Catherford is on administrative leave while the district conducts an investigation to determine if she will be fired. Torres Rodriguez continued, quote, Hartford Public Schools strives to provide an inclusive environment where all students feel seen, valued, respected, and heard. We uphold all of our staff to a high standard and trusted them to be caretakers and leaders in the community. We as a school district are responsible for the health, well-being, social and emotional development, and safety of all of the children entrusted to our care. Okay, but the parents are also responsible for that, and the parents have more say and priority when it comes to that than schools. And this nurse is simply saying that parents are not being involved in these conversations, they're not being told about this stuff, okay? Which, again, I find that statement to be funny, considering how, again, the nurse is simply just saying, no, parents actually have priority when it comes to stuff. But again, these woke administrators that are running these school districts don't believe this. It is our responsibility to support our students' growth, personal experience, and social emotional development. It is unacceptable for any member of our community to make any student feel unwelcome, especially someone that has a responsibility to serve as a trusted confidant and obligation to preserve their personal health and well-being. So you notice there's nothing mentioned about the parents. Okay, it's all about we. We are the ones that are responsible. Okay, it is our responsibility. We have control. We have the power. Okay, here's another tip, guys. That word social emotional development, that is basically a Trojan horse for woke gender ideology being pushed on kids. So look out for that in the school districts, okay? Quote, while at times the most hateful rhetoric is the loudest, it certainly does not reflect the care, commitment, and acceptance that the vast majority of our teachers and staff practice every day, the superintendent said. Quote, we not only support the differences and individuality of every member of our school community, but we celebrate them and recognize their value in making our school system enriching, diverse, welcoming, and inclusive. Okay, I don't understand what was hateful. What was hateful about her comment? I don't think there was anything hateful about it. The Connecticut Star reached out to Torres Rodriguez for responses to the following questions and is still waiting a response. Could you state specifically what language the nurse said that you consider harmful to the community? Are you supportive of minors receiving medical treatments that could potentially be harmful to them without their parents' consent? Is any staff member at HPS keeping such treatments or concerns minors might have regarding gender dysphoria or psychological condition from those minors' parents? Are any staff members at HPS initiating the topic of gender identity to students when no concerns about the issue have been raised by the students themselves? Those are all good questions, right? They're all questions that I don't think will be answered. More government school superintendents have been open about keeping children's psychological and sexual information private from parents. Chalkboard Review tweeted the case Tuesday of Claire, Wisconsin Superintendent Mike Johnson, who said when a child shares their gender preference or sexual orientation with a staff member and a staff member informed the parents without the child's consent, this potentially violates the privacy rights of the student. I don't think students have privacy rights. Not from their parents. They got privacy rights definitely from their teachers, but they don't have any privacy rights from their parents. I don't think this is how that works, right? I don't think that's how it works, okay? So with that being said, I don't know how it's not clear as day to anybody that there's obviously an agenda being pushed in schools, not just from individual teachers, but also from administrators, okay, to hide what these teachers are pushing on children, right? And in some cases, it can go as far as facilitating medical treatments and then hiding it from parents, okay, and punishing any teacher that chooses to do the right thing and expose this stuff to parents, right? Or if you're a school nurse and you're exposing this stuff with parents, you would think that school nurses will have the right to share medical information, right? Medical treatments that their child is going through with parents. But again, a lot of these school districts, these administrators, they believe that they're the parent, that they have the ultimate control over these kids, okay? And they want to mold these kids to be woke, gender fluid activists, right? That's kind of what it seems like to me. The main goal of school is not to learn any type of real life skills or any skills that's going to make you some money or make you a productive citizen in society. It's really just to make the kids woke, gender fluid activists. That's what it seems like. But yeah, in the ideal world, this nurse would be applauded, would be celebrated. And the superintendent would come out and say, we're going to look into what this nurse is saying, and we're going to make sure that parents are informed about whatever type of medical treatments their kids are receiving, or any type of, concerning conversations that we've had with your kid that might indicate that, hey, they may, need some help, or, the parents need to know that kids are, potentially, going through, changes, right? Having certain thoughts about their gender and their sexuality, right? That is actually what schools should be doing. They should be more transparent with parents about this stuff. Again, which is why the don't say straight bill is so important. I really believe that the Republicans are doing the will of God in this situation right here under these circumstances. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.